A short call. We're going to do about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I know Daniel and myself tend to go long. We want to do a call that's a little bit different. And this is about giving thanks and being thankful. So it's a little bit more mental game, but we're still going to go over some cool stuff. What's up?
It's festive.
Yeah, it's festive. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I think, a big driver in business and in this game is being detached from your work. Right. So what does that mean to me? Like if you go into a deal and you're just thinking about, man, I need to make this profit. I got to get this money. I got to say whatever I got to say to this property owner because I got to get paid. Right. You're coming from a place of lack. Right. And people feel that desperation, and it doesn't sound like desperation. It sounds like it makes people want to not trust you. Right. Because they're like, okay, this guy has some kind of agenda. I can't figure it out. I kind of don't know what he's talking about. But something just doesn't feel right is the way that they're going to describe it. I think if you're playing for money in business, that's exactly what you're going to come across every single time. Let me give you an example. So I went to a seller's house this morning. They have $1 million ranch. They're going to seller finance it for me for $5,000 down. I sent them the contract last week, and they were both kind of like, the mom's super in, the daughter's kind of like, she has a bunch of questions. She started lighting me up with questions. So much so she's like interrogating me. I was kind of upset. I was kind of offended. I'm like, what the heck? I'm trying to help you guys, and you're freaking like, you're making me feel like I'm the criminal here. Wait a minute now. So I went to their house this morning, and in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I have the power to help these people. I would love to help these people, but I don't have to. I have so many deals going on. I have so much stuff that I have to work on. I kind of don't need this bullshit. Right. It's kind of like, and more humble than that, but that's like the thought process. I don't need this shit. I got a lot of other stuff that I can work on that's more important than this. So I'm in the living room and we're talking, and I'm like, hey, my whole vibe was like, maybe we'll do the deal, maybe we won't. Right. I have a lot of things that I got to do. I have a lot of places I need to be other than here with you guys interrogating me, making me feel like I'm trying to steal your property. That was that energy that I'm talking about. It's like, I have a lot to bring to the table. I have a lot of value. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to deliver on what I say. And I think in the wholesaling business, not everybody comes from that, right? You'll say a lot of things to get a deal, but that doesn't mean that you're going to deliver on what you say. And Daniel and myself, we're 100% deliverability. If anybody's been on these calls for the last 90 days, we deliver, right? We do exactly what we say we're going to do, nothing more, nothing less. And so in the living room, they're asking me questions, and I was kind of like actually coaching them out of using me, out of going with me. I'm explaining to them how to sell the property on their own, how to do this by themselves, ways that they could take advantage of the marketplace, investments they could make using the cash from this property. And, as I'm unpacking all that, I was like, they're getting more and more engaged now. Yeah, you can do that. You do that. We want you to do it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I was kind of like even trying to ease my way out of doing the deal with these people, and they're getting more and more engaged. And it made me realize it's because I'm not coming from a place of desperation. I don't need to do this deal with you, right? So I said all that to say that if you're coming from a place of appreciation and abundance, if you're in that mindset all the time, that comes off in your sales pitch where you're not needy, you're not trying to do anything shady, you're not trying to for some reason, I feel like people have a negative idea about wholesaling because you feel like, well, you're taking somebody's property and you're selling it for more. We're providing a lot of value. I'm putting a lot of miles on my truck. I'm spending a lot of miles on the road. I'm spending a lot of time away from my family. I'm proud of what I do. And if somebody doesn't they don't think that what I'm doing is valuable, don't even do the deal with me, right? So that's what I wanted to say. It's more about what do you bring to the table. We wanted to talk about today, what are you thankful for, right? What drives you? And that's super, super important of your presentation and what you bring to the presentation and the energy that you bring to a deal where you're trying to talk somebody out of doing the deal with you, and then they're kind of begging you to do the deal with them because they're like, they just trust you so much. They're like, yeah, something's going on with this guy. I just trust that he's going to treat us right. He's going to do the right thing.
Where I kind of want to talk about this as far as being more present in the moment, because a lot of people, we talked about this. If you haven't seen the episode we did with Ryan Pineda, yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago, it was very insightful because he was when you get to where you're going, everybody always tell themselves when I get to where I'm going, I'm going to take it easy. And the truth is that you never take it easy because you're always getting to where you're going. You're always trying to get to where you want to go. So there's always levels to this. And the truth about this is like, as much as everybody thinks like real estate's like fast money, like there's going to be a level to, there's going to be like long-term levels. We're going to keep on going and going and going. You're never going to stop. So you need to like relax and like think about what's really important at the moment. So like I was talking to my wife this afternoon, and I'm like, I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years, and one of the key factors I know that I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years is because my oldest is going to turn 5. I started this when my oldest was being born. So I'm like, I've been an entrepreneur for about to be 5 years now, and 5 years has already passed since I've been on this journey, and I feel like I'm just getting started. So like people think like it's gonna take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to get where you're gonna go. It's gonna take probably 5 to 10. I'm doing this 5 years now. Actually, next month will be 5 years. So like it's a journey that a lot of things are gonna happen that you're gonna wish you would have separated time for your family, and really thankful for the time you do have. Because like I said, me and Anthony might get in a car accident tomorrow, and I'll be doing this, or I might get in an accident tomorrow. Like, is it really what you're doing purposeful enough to produce the result you want right now? So I really want you to get in perspective. And like me and Anthony were talking about, like it takes 5 years to become a millionaire, and we've been listening to like a bunch of like podcasts and YouTube videos, and it takes like 20 years to become a billionaire. So 20 years is a long time. It's a long time. And people that you're starting maybe later in life in entrepreneurship, and you're listening to this, like, yeah, 20 years is a long time. There's people, me and Anthony watched the video. We share a lot of like educational and mindset content with each other. And this is like what the group's for. Like, you need to find somebody there that's always going to push you. But he shared like it was a video about billionaires, and they're getting interviewed. They're asking billionaires about their question. And it was one of those things where like the perspective of, and for most of them, it took them 15 to 20 years to get to that point. So the success you really want to achieve isn't necessarily out of reach. It's just going to take a lot more time than you think. And me and Anthony wish Hivemind would have grown faster, but it's one of those things where like it's going to take the time. It's going to take the time to where it needs to be, and it's going to take however long that gets to. So being in the moment, being in the present, understanding what's around you, what's really important, and just separating yourself and separating time for. And this I'm talking to myself here, but separating time for your family, separating time for your health, separating time for your personal endeavors, because those are the things that really gave you longevity. Because most entrepreneurs, they burn out. They get tired of producing content. I saw a video of Jake Paul like literally 2 days ago. I don't watch Jake Paul or nothing like that recently at all. But he posted,
I love those guys. Just FYI.
He might love those guys. I don't really care for him, but it's one of those things where like he stopped producing video content because he hated beating that guy. Hey, we're talking about this today, and then he lost that content burnout where he was stuck producing all the time for years and years and years. So you have to really focus on your mental stability and how long you really can do this. Like me and Anthony, I don't know how long we're going to do this for. It's one of those things where like we're doing it now because we're putting forth the energy to do it now, but I don't know how long we're going to do this. So it's one of those things where like we're squeezing out time in our day to do stuff like this, squeezing out time to make sure we spend time with the family. I went to an amusement park last week with my family, and it was one of those things where like Anthony called me up, and me and Anthony talked for like maybe 45 minutes to 2 hours a day, what it seems like. And he's like, "Where you at?" He's like, "I'm with the fam." He's like, "All right, I'll call you later."
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like you gotta be in the present, be in the moment, and make the best of the time you have, because you don't know how much time you have moving forward.
Yeah, so that's what we wanted to talk today about, being thankful, because like, how does this pertain to business? And I tie everything in my life back to business, right? Even like the satisfaction or like the happiness levels of my family, the kids, the wife, even my Daniel and his family. I'm like, dude, turn your phone off. Don't answer my phone again. Like you enjoy that family, like take your time out and do that stuff. Like ignore me. And then I'm like, if anybody's calling customer service, because Daniel's not customer service, we have a team in place for that. But sometimes people reach out to him like, hey, can you please help me with this? And we try to be as attentive as possible. But I'm like, dude, forget everybody for the next 4 hours. Just enjoy your family, bro. Turn your ringer off. Like if somebody melts down and they quit and they don't want to deal with Hivemind no more, like have a nice day. You know what I mean? Like if you can't enjoy your own family, then why are we building this company? And again, like this all, like your own personal like happiness and fulfillment set point is going to convey to your customers, to your sellers. They're going to feel, hear, think, and vibrate what you vibrate. right? So that's something that's super, super important to me. So that's why we wanted to talk today about like being thankful. What are we thankful for? What Daniel was pointing to earlier is that like everything in your business, everything in your personal life, it's a trade-off, right? You're trading hours of your life for something else, right? And it could be capital, right? That's the first thing we think about in business is cash. Like I'm trading my hours for cash, right? And I think the ultimate goal for business is to trade the least amount of hours for the most amount of capital. So that's why we're dealing now in multi-million-dollar land deals, because we want to make, right, $5 or $10 million on a single transaction per transaction. And if I only did one a year, I'm the happiest guy on Facebook. I'm not the richest guy on Facebook, but I'm the happiest guy on Facebook, right? If I can capture 5 to 10 G's, 5 to 10 mil on a single transaction. So we haven't got there yet, but we're building up to it. But that's why we want to talk about like happiness and fulfillment and how this pertains to your business. So you got to think about the trade-off, right? Time that you're spending on business, time that you're spending on these calls. That's something that we wanted to address too, is that we appreciate everybody that hangs out with us. You know, you guys separate an hour from your day to come and hang out and have these conversations to talk about business when you should be hanging out with the missus or the mister, hanging out with the kids, right? There's a lot of things that you could be doing, but you isolate yourself from your people for a very short amount of time to spend it with us. And that's something that we're super grateful for. We covered that on the Ryan Pineda call. I said that we're going through business and we're collecting dollars, we're collecting assets, but we're also collecting friendships, right? Some of the people that we're networking with on a day-to-day basis, you know, people that you work with, you spend more time with them than you do your own family sometimes if you're working on the same deals over and over again for an extended period of time. And some of these people really become your friends, right? Like it starts out like as a business associate, but these are your friends that you're spending like time away from your family with. So like we're in the trenches together, we're at war together, and we are grateful for it, man. Like I said, it's something that's been on my mind a lot lately. I would say in the last 60 days, more than it's ever been in the last 40 years, is that the people that we're in the trenches with in business, like these are really our good friends. Like we know their families and we know their kids and we know what they're up to. We know what they eat. And it's really cool, man. It's like, it's the biggest blessing in the world, because if you, let's say you're working in a big corporate company and there's a million employees, right? And you only know the manager and a couple of guys that you see in the office for a few hours and that's it and nothing else ever again. But in our world, it's like, we're starting to make a lot of friends that are really, really powerful, you know, and that doesn't mean just like based on their wealth, based on their personality and who they are as a person and what they're willing to give back. Like we have a lot of people in our lives and in our business that they really are givers. Like they really do care about other people more than they care about just making profit. And it's like, dang, like we have a whole team of all-stars, right? Like you have these all-star NBA teams and there's like whatever, 10 or 15 players on the team. They're the best in the world. Our business partners and our friends are like, they're the all-star team. Like looking at the landscape of business on Facebook and on Instagram, you see these business influencers and it's like, man, I would never trade a John Alexander, you know, for a Instagram yacht guru. You know what I mean? Like we love John to death. He's been coaching us since we met him. He just never stopped coaching us. And if he sees us going into a spot where, hey, you know, you guys might want to be careful over here, there's a little bit of red tape around that, he automatically just calls us and tells us, hey guys, you know, I see you're over here and I know you're ambitious and you're pushing your limits, but let's be careful around this. And he doesn't have to do that. Right. But again, it's one of your business partners who also becomes like a family member who has your best interest in mind. And we're just so super thankful. Like we decided, like, let's make this Thanksgiving call about things that we're thankful for and why. Right. How does that pertain to business? Because we're just on here. We just want to get $1 million deal. But, you know, being thankful for people that are putting time and energy and capital into this whole entire machine so that we can all win. It's like we say we, but we're not referring to Daniel and myself. You know, it's the whole hive mind. It's all the people that are involved, that are contributing, that are building here with us. And we're just super grateful for it. We want to make a whole call about it. And then we're still down to answer some business questions here in a couple of minutes too.
I kind of want to talk about intentionality. Intentionality has been a word I've been hearing a lot lately. And it's intentional with your purpose. One of the crazy things I see a lot is that people will dedicate, not hating it all, but they'll dedicate like so much effort into producing such little result. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, like you could be doing such, like everybody has the same 24 hours and like people that make more money than you, they have the same 24 hours as you. So it's being intentional with your time and finding a way to produce larger results. I think it's one of the big reasons why we created this group, is just being more intentional on where our efforts are pointed, because as much as we want to do more deals, we want to do bigger deals. Then we could focus on doing bigger deals versus less smaller deals, So being intentional with your time, being intentional with your efforts. One of the things I struggled with early on when I started in real estate was I thought I was doing enough effort to produce results, but in reality, I wasn't. I really wasn't doing enough to produce results at all.
That's something I want to talk about because Daniel has his kids with him on all these videos, and sometimes you hear him in the background, and like other I don't know, platforms might be like, hey, that's not professional or whatever. But I'm like, dude, I love the fact that his kids are in the background because the man's not making excuses to not be out here grinding and getting it. If you listen to our first several Hivemind podcasts, there's kids crying in the background. And that never struck me as like, oh man, that's unprofessional. Like, this is real life, bro. We're in the trenches with you guys. You know what I mean? Like I said, like my wife's upstairs with the kids watching a movie. I wish I was up there too. Right. But we committed to these calls. We committed to the people in this room. We want to see you through to your success. And like I said, we got blood, sweat, and tears into this thing too. We're not just sitting in the background, just hoping that success comes to us. Like, we're doing the same thing that you're doing. And we're glad to be a part of your journey in your life. And anything that you can do. I mean, we're an open book. I don't know any other companies or any other masterminds or any other CRM or software companies where you could just reach out to the owner by text message and say, hey, I need to talk to you real quick. Right. And there's a lot of people in this room. We've been on the phone call on quite a few times. Because we have your best interest in mind. We want to, of course, we want to JV with you. We want to do a deal for it with you, but it's like this, we're doing this because we enjoy it and we do feel fulfilled by it. It doesn't feel like a burden. If I had to pick a job to have, this would be it. This would be my dream job. I tell people that I think Hivemind's heading for $1 billion, right? Because let's talk about the path to $1 billion, right? And if you think about it, it's an astronomical, crazy number. If you look up like 1 million seconds, right, it goes by like in, I don't know, a few weeks or a few months. But if you do 1 billion seconds, it's years, 31 years.
I know the math. It's 11 days for a million seconds, and it's 31 and a half years for 1 billion seconds.
31 and a half years just for the seconds to go by. And people like haphazardly use the term billion on Instagram. I'm going to be a billionaire. Like there's a 99.999% probability that you're not going to become a billionaire. I hate to break the news to you, but if you think about it, what are the hurdles to $1 billion, right? You got to move enough products and services, and you got to have enough personnel, and that's it. You're moving enough capital, and the only thing in the real estate world that moves capital is personnel. Right. Yeah. So there's over 300 people that are in Hivemind right now. We know for sure that in 5 years flat, it's going to be 3,000 plus. Right. So if you have thousands of people contributing multi-million-dollar transactions to one organization, it's not going to take that long to get to $1 billion. I mean, we locked up almost $10 million like in the last 90 days. So not saying the next 90 days is going to look like that, but what if we locked up another $10 million in the next 90 days? Right? That's already $20 million locked up in 6 months. So if you think about that, Alex Hormozi, I don't know how much of you guys follow him, but he says if you're running $100 million a year business, and that's like $1 billion valuation if you're moving 100 million a year. So I don't think the road to $1 billion is that far off when you have a group of entrepreneurs like yourselves that are contributing to the same cause. It's just in the cards, man. I think we're all moving in the right direction, and if just with the amount of people that we have contributing. Like your John Alexander's in the room. We love you, John. Alma Flores, she's in there. Alma does big deals. She helped me do my first $1 million deal. When I got my first $1 million contract, I called Alma. I'm like, hey, I need some counsel over here. And she's a killer, man. She's doing it. She's out there doing big land deals. So there's a lot of people in this room that are pulling in their equal way. Ruben's already submitted several multi-million-dollar deals. We just drove to Dallas to look at a $9 million contract for him. We're still working out some of the details with the owner, but it's a deal. If we ink that thing, it's a deal. He submitted one that's 16 million. That's a deal, right? Just in the last, 45 days or so. So imagine we've locked up almost 10 million by ourselves in 90 days. Ruben's pushing 25 million by himself in the last 45 days. So if you think about it, that could be 35 million on the table in 60 days. So I'm telling you, B's not far off for this room. It's not at all.
One thing that I want to head on as far as that, it's always personnel and numbers. So personnel is what drive numbers, and it's always the people. So being and driving the people is what provides the force. And like everybody thinks like we're giving away all the juice, all the juice of the game that we provide, but it's one of those things where like we know where we want to go and we need help.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody can do it on their own. Like I said, I think even when I was working by myself, I was pushing a couple $100,000 a year as a one-man band with just me, my wife, and my sister. And now that we've, came up with the Hive Mind a year and 10 months ago, we're looking at multi-million-dollar contracts every day,
Yeah.
sometimes every few hours. Jacob's on here. How much was that deal you submitted this week? Both deals, just two separate deals, same seller. How much?
500 acres. Well, yeah, it's 500 acres and then 250. So, I mean, in total, probably close to 20 million.
One person, one seller, so like we're still feeling our way through this thing like everybody else. We're not experts in it, but we are starting to move into a space where we're only working on multi-million-dollar deals. And it's not so we can get on Facebook and sound cool. We are literally trying to invest the least amount of hours and get the most amount of return. And I wish that all for you in this room as well. And yeah, like Alma just said, hey, we love you too, John Alexander. Hey, John's our guy. Alma said it's a mindset kind of thing, and it really is. What's the difference? We just completed a 2-acre transaction and we made 80,000 on 2 acres, right? We're looking to close one out in the next 23 days where we're going to make 300,000 profit. And it is a mindset thing. There's nothing that separates $80,000 deal from an $8,000 deal or a $300,000 deal or $1 million deal. There's nothing that separates it. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same paperwork. It's the exact same language. It's the exact same everything. It's running comps. There's nothing different. The only thing with a big deal is you want to give yourself a little bit more time to sell, and that's it. You're not going to do a $5 million track and lock it up for 14 days. That's not going to happen. But if you're in that mindset of like, hey, I can wait 6 months or I can wait a year for this thing to pan out, I'm happy with it. And then that attaches a lot of zeros to it. So let's talk about the money now, right? And again, this is about like gratitude. I was living on my sister's couch. It has to be 10 years ago. I separated from she wasn't my wife then, but my kid's mom. And I ended up living on my sister's couch. I lived there for months. And I started studying marketing. I got really obsessed with it. I had always been pretty good at it, but I really went down that rabbit hole. And one day I woke up and I told her, I said, you know what? I was like, I figured out how to make $1 billion. And she has to think like, you're a moron. You live on my couch. You don't know what you're talking about. But what I had pieced together is that if you get really, really good at marketing and you attach really cool numbers to it, then, amazing things happen. And that's what we're trying to share with this group, is that if you do the same activities that it takes to generate $5,000, but you attach a couple more zeros to it, something really magical happens. And I encourage everybody on here, push yourself out of your comfort zone. Push your work out of your comfort zone. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're only pulling a list for properties that are worth 5 or 10 or 20,000, keep pulling that because we all need to eat, right? Pull half your list of deals where you can make 3 to 5 to 10,000, but pull the rest of your list where you could make $1 million or 2 or 5, right? And if you get into a place where you're uncomfortable, people are like, hey, I don't really want to make this phone call. I'll make the phone call for you. There's somebody on this screen right now. I'm not going to highlight their name unless they ask me to, but they sent me a property seller's phone number today. And I called him and I did the whole call for him. The guy wasn't even on the phone call. I made the whole entire call. I did everything. We recorded it. I made the pitch. I pitched seller finance. I got all the details. I got the mortgage information. I got all of it. So if you just do the front end work, if you get me warm, I'll jump in and I'll do the rest. Like literally, like we will do the work for you. I don't know any other mastermind that does that, where you guys just tee us up and we will jump on and we will do the rest. Yep. Alma says that this is less work than house flipping. So think about that. How many, if you guys can cut on your cameras, if you're in a position to, how many successful house flippers do you have on your Facebook feed? By show of hands. Successful house flippers on your Facebook feed. Almost everybody, right? I would say almost everybody in the room has somebody that brags about like, man, I made $1 million flipping houses this year. You have no idea how much work that is unless you've ever flipped a house. I grew up flipping houses. I grew up in construction since I was 12 years old. And I have to think, and I can say this like non-judgmentally because I was a contractor my whole life. I think house flippers, I think that's less real estate investing and that's more being a very high paid general contractor. right? And in our world, we're not contracting anything. That 2 acres that I sold here in San Antonio, that's probably 30 minutes from me, maybe 40 minutes from me. I've never been there, right? And I just made 80 grand. That's land. That's the land business. That's what we're in. That's what we're doing. I think it's a very special place to be. We're super, super thankful. We're super thankful for all the people in this room. We appreciate each and every one of you. And the only way that we could pay you back is with our time and our energy. So if you do the front end and you get us on a call, we will jump in on the back end and we will go to war for you.
So I do want to mention this too. So one of the videos Anthony sent me was it was an interview with a software company who sold his company for $8 billion. And towards the end of the video, he's like, one of the biggest benefits of selling my business was knowing that thousands of people were about to make a lot of money just for investing early and believing in the company, helping us get to where we were. And he gave he had people that worked with him directly. Like he had he gave them like owner shares or something like that. He made them like buy shares into the company with any money they could have before they went public. And it was one of those things where like as soon as he sold the company, everybody around him got rich. So that's the benefit of going to big heights and big goals, is you can really affect a lot of people all at once, and the people that help you get there.
That's where I was going with the cash portion of it, because if you're on these calls and you just hear me and Daniel saying, hey, you're gonna make $1 million, 500,000, 2 million, it sounds, I hate talking about the numbers. I've said this on stage before. Like I hate saying those kinds of numbers because it sounds like cap, it sounds like BS, and it sounds like we're money hungry, like we're just like in only thinking about that aspect of it. But if you know who we are as people, man, every single holiday, you'll see my sister post this here like tomorrow. We always invite everybody. If you don't have anywhere to go on Thanksgiving, you come eat over here. I don't care. If 50 people showed up, we'll just run to the store and we'll just buy more shit. Right. So every back to school season, we're like, hey, we'll buy backpacks, we'll buy supplies. Like if you don't have anywhere to go on Christmas, you come to our house. Like literally, like we're always trying to find a way to give back. And we've been that way even before we even had it. I think, I don't know, like 4 kids or 5 kids that we're doing Feed the Children. You know what I mean? Like in places where they need the money and the food a lot more than we do. Like there's a lot of things that we do to contribute to give back. But y'all want to hear something funny right now? And I always try not to get too weird with you guys, right? But if you want to get to know me personally, I believe something in my heart. I believe that it's a sin to not get rich. Because if God put it on your heart, right, or the creator, whatever you believe in, put it on your heart and he gave you the skills and he gave you the energy and the momentum to be able to get wealthy and the know-how, and you don't, that's like, there's like I don't know if you guys are biblical, but you know, like there's a story about 10 gold coins or whatever, where the master leaves and he gives 3 of his servants gold coins and one buries them. One like squanders it, like he blows it. And then one, he like invested and makes a lot more. Right. So I think we're responsible based on the amount of gifts and the leverage that you have in your life. Like you need to go out there and create more, because there's people out there that are never going to be able to create more for themselves. Right now, we have a lady living in a mobile home that we bought, and she's crippled. She's in a wheelchair. She cannot pay us rent. You know what? We're paying her lot rent. Like, I don't know why. I'm the worst businessman on the planet.
So check this out. Me and Anthony,
I don't know where to go.
check this out. And this is no, I'm not being facetious at all. We gave away $30,000 back to our clients year 1 of HiveMind. We'll give away over $100,000 back to our clients year 2 in HiveMind. So like we're the worst business people ever because we're giving away all our profit.
So, but you're not in a position to give away anything to help anybody, not even help yourself, if you don't get wealthy. You know, if you have your health and your mental game is strong and you have like a supporting community, you have people around you that want to see you win, like you have a responsibility for the people around you to just do really big things. And to me, it's not a mindset. It's not capping. It's not saying like, hey, yeah, we made $1 million deal. You have a responsibility for the people around you, even strangers, people you don't know. You have that responsibility in your life. If you have God-given talent, right, to do these things and to move this amount of capital and you don't do it, I think you're a bad person. I never say that on Facebook. I don't say it in public. But if you have extra talents and you can generate crazy amounts of capital and you see somebody starving in the street and you don't do something about it, like, oh man, I got a little grudge against you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to overproduce. You should be able to overproduce with the amount of energy you have in your body. You should be able to overproduce enough abundance for yourself, for your family, for your friends, your neighbors, some strangers. all of that, and it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to go out there and get it. If you're in this room, if you have access to this information, if you have access to this amount of people, you have access to our capital. I'm not saying that we have a whole ton of it, but if we don't have it, we will find it. If your deal is a deal, if you get a $20 million deal, we do have access to people that can get to take that deal down, right? We don't have that kind of money in our bank. I'm not even going to lie. We're not even close to it, but we can find it. So you have enough access to resources in this room where you can change the lives of not only yourself, but all of the people around you and probably all the people around them. So just be thankful, man. Be grateful. We're super, super grateful for you. We're thankful that you're here. And we want to see you guys go out there and crush it, right? And we're here just to provide that support system, whatever we can do together.
We're gonna give away $50 to Rico McPherson. I'm gonna reach out to you.
Ooh, the hive mind. Oh yeah, guys. So look, if you're on these calls, go to our website and we have apparel. There's like leggings for the ladies, there's t-shirts, there's mugs, let me show you guys this cup. Hang on. When I'm walking around at the gym or anywhere with this cup, I freaking love this thing. Look at that. It's like a Yeti. Hive mind. Look at that thing. And then like when you take a sip, bam, throw it on them. So if you guys go out, get some apparel, get you a mug, get you a cup, get you something, you come to these calls, we just want to just give away a couple bucks, $50, not a big deal, but something cool. We got some cool stuff to wear, even the brand. So even people that don't even know the brand, like I've had like old ladies come up to me in the store and be like, what's the hive mind? That's a nice shirt. Don't even know what it is. So pick up some apparel, hang out on these calls. We want to give away some bucks. Another thing I was going to tell you guys, make sure you invite people here. Make sure you invite people to these calls. Invite people to join this mastermind, because if you're trying to do this business by yourself, it gets expensive. It gets taxing both in energy, time, and capital. It gets super taxing. But if you invite people here and say, hey, I think you want to look at this, then come take a look. But what separates us from everybody else that's out there in the marketplace? I looked at a deal over by Houston. The lady wants $10 million. It's raw land. And I said, what are you going to do with that money? She says, I need a 1031 and to a different property. I said, well, where do you want to be? I want to be in New Braunfels. It's north of San Antonio. It's an area that's exploding. It's like one of the top fastest growing cities in the country. And she said that she would sell that land to buy land by New Braunfels in an area that's appreciating. So we got a lead on a deal that's worth $3 million, and she has land that's worth $10 million. So I messaged her today and asked her if she would do an even exchange. And she's asking all the right buying questions. I don't know if the deal is going to go down, but I'm trying to make $7 million on a single transaction, on a single trade. So we need 600,000 to lock up the one by New Braunfels. And then we're going to, once she says yes, we're going to trade her for that property that's worth, we already got an offer on that one for 9 million. So I'll put up 600,000 for a property that's worth 3. We'll trade her for her property, and we already have an offer for 9. So I'll make $6 million in a single day. Right. But if I hang on to it and push it out for 10, I'll probably get to 10 million. So I can make 7. But you're in this room. You're in that room. This is that room. So if you invite your friends here, invite your family members here, let them know what we're doing. Say, hey, I don't even know what the heck's going on, but I think you guys should take a look at this. I promise we won't let you down. We're building something amazing, and it's only getting better, because I could see a year from now, we're going to be like, hey, I'm trying to trade this $5 million ranch for this $20 million ranch. And it's just going to happen. Right. Because the more deals you look at, it's like, we're not getting more skilled. Daniel and myself, we're not getting more skilled. I feel like we're like almost capped out on skill set. But if you do enough marketing and you get in front of enough deals, that's where the magic happens. It's not about how much capital you can gather, because we have all the capital in the world gathered here in this room. We can find any amount of money. It's about how much marketing are you doing? How many deals are you looking at? And the more deals that you look at, the more magical you become. It's just the name of the game. It's what we're doing. We're looking at so many deals. We're looking like geniuses, and it has nothing to do with any of that. It really is. It's just cycling through a lot of deals. That's been my philosophy since day one. Hey, thanks, Luke. Thanks for being on here, man. You're awesome. We appreciate you. Thanks, PJ, for doing everything you do, man. You're out there killing it. He's getting some buyer leads, seller leads. If anybody doesn't have any properties yet, or you don't know how to market to sellers, we have a ton of properties right now. We're pushing $10 million worth of ranches right now. So if any of you guys want to run Facebook ads, it's $500 a month, and you bring us buyers, you can make between $5,000 and $10,000 per each sell that you make. We'll give you the whole entire system. We found that about $500 a month is the threshold. If you could do more than that, well, obviously you'll get deals quicker. But that's a pretty cool way to learn how to do these types of transactions on the back end. Because even once you lock it up, what are you gonna do now? right? You still have a whole entire backend system to learn. So if you haven't been able to get deals, if you're not talking to that many sellers, but you want to jump in and engage on the finding the buyer side, we're ready to do that now. So we'll wrap it up here, guys. If you guys have any questions, 1-2 questions before we head out. If not, we're going to close the room up. And we hope you guys have a super happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your family. Turn your phone off. Pay attention to grandma. Pay attention to mom and dad, because you don't know if they're going to be here next holiday. You don't have that guarantee. You know, I encourage you all this Thanksgiving, turn your damn phone off, leave it at home. Any questions? Going once, twice, 3 times? All right, guys, we appreciate you, man. God bless you all. Have a super happy holiday. We'll see you all soon. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Thank you for your time, Miss Elma. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.